I was impressed this week by the Pope who, during an audience granted to the Italian Association of Hospital Pharmacists, made a fiery and categorical defense of the right to conscientious objection on the part of the health personnel. Certainly, since the beginning of his pontificate, the Pope has always condemned abortion and euthanasia with great force and clarity. But I had never heard him qualify the conscientious objection of health personnel as a non-negotiable principle, as he did on this occasion. He said that the right of conscientious objection cannot be negotiated, and he added, and it is the ultimate responsibility of healthcare personnel, not only of those he was addressing to at that time, who were the hospital pharmacists in Italy. It is the ultimate responsibility of healthcare personnel, and the right to conscientious objection cannot be negotiated. It is a statement as sharp as it is clear in a context in which certain governments are increasingly limiting this right and even want to do away with it, creating blacklists of doctors who refuse to participate in abortions or euthanasia. In this same audience, he again described abortion as a murder. These are his words. It is a murder with which one cannot be an accomplice. The Pope has said that from the beginning. And there it is, for example, Amoris Laetitia. From the beginning, he has condemned gender ideology, abortion, and euthanasia. Now, who knows about this? Who knows what is the Pope's thinking on these important issues? For example, just this week, he granted an audience to Nancy Pelosi, who is the Speaker of the House or Representatives of the U.S. Congress, a self-declared Catholic and radical pro-abortionist. Well, the news has been the smiles between the two and how they shook hands, and she put her big finger on his hand in a certain way. For most people, that means that since the Pope has been welcoming and kind to a pro-abortion Catholic, it is because he is also pro-abortion. The vast majority will not know that a few days later the Pope has made such a strong proclamation in favor of the right to conscientious objection on the part of doctors and against abortion and euthanasia, which he calls murder. In other words, no one is perfect, but of course, if the image we have of anyone, in this case of the Pope, is what is transmitted by the media, who select what they are not interested in disseminating, then it is an image so distorted and out of touch with reality that for many the Pope is a pro-abortionist and a friend of abortionists. I insist, nothing could be further from the truth. Another note of this week is the one that will take place tomorrow in the Spanish city of Cordoba, which is the beatification of a large group of martyrs, priests, religious men and women who met their death after torture in the framework of the Spanish Civil War for simply being servants of Christ. Socialists and communists united in Cordoba. In other places of Spain also the anarchists united to finish with these servants of the Lord. Bishop Martinez Camino, who is auxiliary bishop of Madrid, has given a conference in Cordoba reflecting on the beatification tomorrow, Saturday. He recalled some figures that are shocking. For example, the Diocese of Madrid lost a third of its priests. 1 out of 3 was killed, tortured. The same thing happened in the Diocese of Cordoba. A third of priests and religious men and women were killed. There are dioceses like the small Diocese of Barbastra in the Aragonese Pyrenees, where practically all were killed. Said Bishop Martinez Camino, the martyrs are our heroes. the heroes of Christ, but heroes of forgiveness and mercy. Because all of them, like Christ, died forgiving their enemies, heroes who not only knew how to die for Christ, but also how to die like Christ, forgiven. And he added, and that is why these martyrs are the light of the world. One last note this week, and it affects me personally. 33 years ago, a day like today, feast of Saint Teresa of Jesus, the Franciscans of Mary Association began to take its first step. Unfortunately, I have seen how the church is declining. And from the beginning, I asked myself what we could do to carry out this new evangelization that St. John Paul II asked for with so much interest. The old evangelization, the first evangelization, or what has preceded us, gave many fruits and very good results. But the circumstances, the historical time has changed, and we cannot continue using the same methods that our elders used. Although we have a lot to learn from them, today is a time in which man is indifferent or hostile to the religious fact. He is not interested or sees it as something already overcome that should end as soon as possible because it is not good for society. Indifferent or hostile, we have to show the beauty of our faith and the reason for our faith in this context of a secularized and even aggressive society. And we have to show what are our motivations for having faith. Precisely because they consider that we're part of a past that must be eliminated once and for all. If our elders were motivated by the interest of going to heaven, a wonderful thing, and the fear of not going to hell or the fear of not suffering certain punishments here on earth and of receiving certain blessings here on earth, interest and fear, stick and carrot for the donkey to walk, well, interest and fear should not be forgotten because they are legitimate. However, they cannot become the motivation with which Catholics must act today. If we're only motivated by interest or fear, we will not be able to convince and invite others to share our faith because they will look at us with an air of superiority and will say, what you are offering me is of no use to me and does not interest me. What we have understood is that at the origin of our faith, at the origin of Christianity is the love of God. The love of God who became man, the love of God for each one of us as we are, the merciful love of God. And that before this merciful love of God, we have the duty to respond with a motivation that does not exclude interest or fear. I want to go to heaven, in which I believe, and I do not want to go to hell, in which I also believe. I do not exclude interest and fear, but that is not what has to move me. What moves me is the gratitude to the love of God. I believe in God, in His love, and I want to live grateful to that God love. In the beginning was the love of God, and the beginning not of the times, but of our religion. In the beginning of Christianity, there was also a woman, the Blessed Virgin Mary. She did not say yes to the angel Gabriel for a calculation. Well, I will be the mother of the Messiah. I will have a great life from now on. I will leave the village of Nazareth. I will live in a palace. Nor did she do it out of fear. No, because if I say no, who knows what punishments I will suffer. In the Virgin Mary, there was nothing but pure love for the pure love that is God. She is the Immaculate. There was no shadow of interest or shadow of fear, and not because she did not believe in eternal life or did not believe that there was what the Jews call Sheol, hell. In her, there was only love that responded to love. Gratitude as a response to God's love is what motivates our faith, our hope, and also our charity. Out of love for love, out of gratitude to the God who has loved us first, we want to act out of love for love. We want to transform our life into a Eucharist, into a thanksgiving. What I find marvelous is that in these times, in the midst of such a strong crisis that affects us all, and in every way, the spirituality of gratitude is spreading at an extraordinary speed, which is a sign that still, in spite of everything, there are many good people and there are many people who want to learn to love love, who want to have a relationship with God that goes beyond interest, even if it is motivated by the greatest thing that can be to be with God in heaven, or beyond fear, even if fear guards the vineyard. Lord, I want to love you because I have believed in you, and I want to make of my life an offering of gratitude to you because you have the right to it, like Mary. That 33 years later we can say that this is our goal. It is the reason for our existence, that we can communicate it, that we can transmit it, and that more and more people want to live this spirituality, which is really to thank God, because in these times, to be able to grow by the work and miracle of God, that is something that is increasingly difficult. Therefore, to love and to make love love as Mary did, to evangelize in a society that has turned its back on God and that considers that God is unnecessary, if not a hindrance to live, to love and to make love be loved. See you next week, God willing.